all, thank you for joining us on this evening's Spotlight and webinar. My name is Aliyah, and I'm part of the Nefesh post-Aliyah and government advocacy team. It is really nice to see some familiar faces and familiar names from the calls and emails or flights or the different interactions we had with Olim. I think people here on the webinar, some have been here already for a while, some less, but it's really nice to have this open forum and a chance to connect and to go over information. I'm joined here by two of my colleagues, Noah, who's right over here, Noah and Tzipi. And for the next 45 minutes, hour, we're going to go over a few topics. Basically, these open forums, are an opportunity for us to spotlight a specific topic. Often it's things that we feel like we get pretty often on our, at the answers email or at or through the phone. So we decided to spotlight tonight the government online accounts, and we're going to cover some of those. And then afterwards, we're going to open it up for just general questions or any post-Aliyah questions you may have. So again, thank you for joining us. You can also be in touch with us. Aside from these webinars, we have our Moked, our hotline that you can call. The post-Aliyah number is *3680 if you're not familiar with that number already, but we answer the phone 9 to 3, Sunday through Thursday. So feel free to give us a call. And when you call that number, anyone who picks up that phone is one of our post-Aliyah advisors from the team. So we're happy to help with anything that comes up and anything that can smooth over acclimating and life here in Israel. And if you don't reach us by phone, or if you'd like to email us, you can email answers@nbn.org.il. So on tonight's topic that we're spotlighting is, like I said, spotlight on government accounts. We're going to cover 3 main accounts. The first one is a gov.il account, how to open a personal gov.il account and to see what services and things are available there. The second one will be showing you how to access your personal Misrad HaKlita portal, which also gives you the opportunity to connect with your Misrad HaKlita advisor and do different services. And the third we're going to cover is a Bituach Leumi, the National Insurance Institute, a personal account there, and what you can see, how to access that, and what services you can see there. What we're going to do is we're going to please ask people to either be on mute for the part of the presentation. We're going to stop for questions at the end of each part, where I'm asking you to please put your questions in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer them through the chat. And I'll also say, even though we're covering information and there's going to be screenshots and info, first of all, everybody will receive the recording within the next 2 days. So you'll have the recording to go back to and follow the screenshots. But in addition, because we're doing something general and showing screenshots and things, people might have personal questions about their account. You might get stuck in different processes. So I just want to remind you that you can always reach out to us, whether you're here in Yerushalayim and you want to come for a walk-in and do it with someone on our team, whether you're somewhere else and you'd like to do it on Zoom with someone from the team. If you're following our emails and information, I hope you're aware that we have something called Translation Tuesdays here in Jerusalem every Tuesday between 10 to 2. You can sign up on our site. Tzipi will also put up the link to register. You can come in for a time slot with one of us or one of our volunteers to do some of these accounts. That's under the translation, also doing some of these things in Hebrew and getting our assistance. We have a bunch of volunteers who are happy to assist Olim. So any one of the things we're going to cover here, you can just please remember that you can also have more one-on-ones and assistance as well as we cover these things and anything that you would need along the way. So again, thank you very much for joining. I am going to pass it on to Noah, who's going to share her screen and start with the presentation. And Tzipi and I are available in the chat for any questions you have. Okay, so just going to remind everybody to please put yourselves on mute and questions put in the chat.
Is that on mute?
Mute.
Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Noah. I work with Aliyah and Tzipi on our post-Aliyah team. I've spoken with many of you on the phone. It's nice to see everyone. As Aliyah mentioned, we're going to be going over 3 different online government accounts. We're going to be going over gov.il, and also Bituach Leumi. I'm going to start with gov.il. It is an account through the government website, gov.il. Gov.il is the government website where many different government offices have different pages where you can access all the information that you need in English. There is an English option on the website that you can go to along with the account that I'm going to show you how to open now. If you search gov.il in Google, you will get to the main page. At the top left corner of the page, you will see Azor Ishi, or personal information, personal account, either one. You can click on that, and there's going to be two different ways that you can open an account. There's going to be a way to open with two forms of identification, and there's going to be a way with scanning your biometric Teudat Zehut. The easiest way for Olim that we have seen to open this account is with the two forms of identification. It's easier because you've never opened a gov.il account before, and it's easier to just upload your information by yourself. You're going to go in and you're going to get to this page. To register all of your information on the account, everything is in English. Opening the account can be in English. On the top right corner, you'll see a way to change the language, and the entire process of opening the account will be in English. You'll need to put in your first and last name the same way it appears on your Teudat Zehut. That means it will need to be written in Hebrew. If your middle name is included on your Teudat Zehut, you'll need to include that as well. And then you'll put in your Teudat Zehut number. Make sure that the spelling is correct, that there's no extra spaces, because the account is sensitive to spaces and commas and unknown letters in the name. The next step is going to be, as I mentioned, the forms of identification. There are 5 different ways that you can identify yourself on the gov.il account. You can use an Israeli credit card that was issued under your name. You can use an Israeli passport number, a phone number that's registered with your Kupat Cholim. You can use 2 security questions or your Teudat Ole number. The way you can choose either one, whichever one applies to you. If you don't have 2 out of the 4 other options, you can choose the 5th option, which is the 2 security questions. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes if you put in your foreign passport number or any of the other questions that it asks, it might not work. So we usually recommend to just wait until you have 2 out of the other 4 to open the account, just to make it easier for yourself. And for each one you choose, it explains what to do and how to find the information that it's asking for. Next step will be to create a password. It is a regular online account. You will need your Teudat Zehut and a password to log in each time. So choose a password that you'll remember, something that will be easy for you, some password that you always use. It gives you exact instructions as to what needs to be included in the password, and also what not to use. Sometimes Olim struggle with it not accepting, so you can't use your Teudat Zehut number and you can't repeat any letters twice in a row. So just make sure and write down this password. Make sure you write it down somewhere, you save it in your computer, just to make sure, as I mentioned, you will need this every time you log in to your gov.il account. Next, they will ask for some contact information. The reason they do this is because every time you log in, they will either send you an email or an SMS with a verification code to make sure that it's actually you logging in, because there is some sensitive information inside of the gov.il account, your Teudat Zehut number, your birthday, passport numbers, things like that. So they just want to make sure it's you logging in each time. So make sure you put in the correct email, an email that you'll have access to, along with their mobile phone number. You do need to have an Israeli phone number in order to open this account, an Israeli phone number that can receive messages or calls, and make sure that you are aware if you receive SMS or text messages. If you do not receive text messages, make sure to just check off that you would like to receive a voice message instead, because they will, like I said, send you some verification codes, and it's better to just get it in a call instead of in an SMS message if you can't receive that. Once you've completed this, you've completed the first couple steps of opening the account. Next, they'll just send you some verification codes to make sure you put in the correct email, and they'll ask you to sign in. Again, you'll put in your Teudat Zehut number and the password you created, and you'll be able to log in. When you log in for the first time, this is the page you will see. The account itself is in Hebrew. If your browser has the option to, you can translate it into English, but the account itself is in Hebrew. On the right-hand side, you can see there are a whole bunch of options of different things you can choose from, and I'll go through each relevant one. This first page that you see is Idkunim, which is notifications. These are different messages that will be sent to you either about your rental subsidy, expiring documentation, expiring passport, expiring Teudat Zehut, information about the war, different resources in your area. Things like that will be sent in the notification area. The second option is Pratim Ishiyim, which is personal information. As I mentioned, all of the information that is in Misrad HaPnim system, the Population Immigration Authority, is also in your gov.il account. So this is what you're going to see when you first log in. It is crossed out just for privacy reasons, but this is what you'll see. On the top, you'll see your name and your Teudat Zehut number, your date of birth, your country of birth, and underneath, you'll see your contact information that you put in when you open the account. You'll see your address, the same way it's listed in the Misrad HaPnim system. You'll see your marital status and information about your Teudat Zehut. There are many different things that can be done through the gov.il account. One of them is actually to change your address. If you see here, you can see that I've highlighted where you can actually click to change your address. You can change your address once a year online. If you are in your first year of Aliyah, Aliyah counts as an address change. So if you are during your first year of Aliyah, you will unfortunately not be able to change the address online, but you can call our Post Aliyah team and we'll be happy to walk you through the process of changing your address. You'll also be able to update your contact information, your email, your phone number. If anything changes, you'll be able to update it through there. Also, any information about your Teudat Zehut, your Israeli passport, or your Teudat Ma'avar will also be listed here. The expiry dates of your Teudat Zehut, the expiry date of your Israeli passport, and also your last entry and exit dates from Israel, which sometimes people are curious how to figure that out. They don't remember when they last flew in. You can access that through your gov.il account. If you look under the Teudat Zehut section, there's a yellow box around the word Sefach Teudat Zehut. A Sefach is the addendum to your Teudat Zehut. It's the small folded up paper that came with your Teudat Zehut. It's proof of your address. It'll have your children on it if they're under the age of 16. It'll have your spouse on it. If you lose it, if it gets damaged, if anything happens to it, you can get a PDF version, a downloadable version of the Sefach through your gov.il account. You'll click on that box and it'll give you a downloadable version that you can print out or keep on your phone for safekeeping, either one. Also, if you update your address, you'll also need a new Sefach, and you can get that through here as well. At the bottom, there's a section for Aliyah and Klita, for Misrad HaKlita, which I'll get back to after when we speak about the Misrad HaKlita online account. Next, I'm going to show you one of the other options that you can find, which is about driver's licenses or car registrations. On the right-hand side, the second to last option is Nehiga, the Klei Tachbura, which is your license or your car. Through the gov.il account, you can see your license number. You can see when the license expires, when it was issued, the level of the license. So which vehicles you're allowed to drive, which ones you're licensed to drive. And you can also get a copy of your license. If you lose your license and you need to go somewhere, you need to drive, you need to go abroad, you can get a temporary version of your license to download through the gov.il account. The third highlighted section right at the bottom is a duplicate of your driver's license. If you lose it and you'd like to get another permanent card, you can click on that button and it will order a duplicate license to your address that's listed in Misrad HaPnim, which will be also listed in the gov.il account, whichever address is there. And you'll also be able to see any other notifications that come up. Something else that is in the gov.il account, as I mentioned, is your rental subsidy. Any information or you'll get a notification each time the rental subsidy is passed into your account. You'll get a notification and it'll say the exact date that the money will be transferred into your account. We're going to pause here. The next step is to actually access the Misrad HaKlita account. Does anybody have questions? Is there anything in the chat that we want to look over?
Yeah, I wanted, if I can, Noah, just add a couple of things.
Yeah.
I'm just no, I don't want to hear myself talk. I just wanted to remind everyone that when you're putting in dates, you put it in the Israeli European style, which is the day first, the month second, and the year, which can make a big difference. That's number one, so don't forget that. And number two, which we've put in the chat, we do have a step-by-step guide on our site that shows screenshots, partially what Noah's showing, maybe a little bit different, to help you go through this. The challenge is that the sites often change just enough to make our screenshots out of date. Just whatever, the information is now on the left instead of the right. So if this seems like a lot of information, as Lisa said, you'll get a recording of it. You will also be able to look at the step-by-step guide on our website. And we didn't start with that, but maybe we can. We do have a web page, which I put on the in the chat, which actually has a button that goes to the various different types of accounts that we can help, that you can find help as to how to use it. Okay. There are some questions, Eliza.
Yeah, I'll just add about questions that are here. Just general questions that people are asking about driver's license or other things we're going to address at the end after we get through these 3 accounts. Okay, and not just a question here, maybe for those who joined a little late, just repeat, why should people have a gov.il account? What are the, just a general about why this is helpful for those who want. It's not a must. It's up to you if you want to open one, but Noah will just to sum up this part, just go over what are the types of services and things that you could use this account for.
So in the gov.il account, as I was showing, you can access all different notifications or updates about your Aliyah, about your different documents that you have. All of the information that is in the gov.il account is the same information that's in Misrad Apnim. So if you're ever curious about which address, which phone number, which email they have on file for you, you can check it in the gov.il account. It also sends you notifications and gives you instructions when one of your documents is expiring. If your passport is expiring, it'll send you a notification and give you instructions on how to renew it and the process of renewing it. Same thing with the driver's license if it's expiring. And you can also print out or get copies of any of your government documents. If you're born in Israel, you can access your birth certificate through this account. You can access a marriage certificate if you were married in Israel. And again, a Teudat Zehut, a Sefach, an addendum to your Teudat Zehut. If you lose it, if it's damaged, you can get a copy of it through this account. And it's an important account to have just to keep updated on different things that Misrad Apnim wants to send you.
Hey, one follow-up question, not related to the portal, but related to the gov, like the gov.
Ariella,
If somebody
Ariella?
forgets their username or their password, the username is going to be your Teudat Zehut. If you forget your password, there's a very simple way to reset it. When you go to log in to the account, you can press forget password, and it'll send you a notification to your email to reset your password and log back in. This account specifically is accessible from abroad. So if you can't receive SMSs at the moment, it'll also send you an email if you need to get into the account and can't.
As far as using a PO
Are there any other
box,
questions in the chat that we should go over before?
Yeah, we're looking through them and I'll read them out. Somebody's asking if a PO box can be used in place of an apartment address. You always use a PO box as a mailing address, but you will need to have an actual physical address when you are asked about an address. That's the same for you too. The address needs to be the same that's showing on your Teudat Zehut Sefach. And for that, again, you can always give the Misrad Apnim that gives you the Teudat Zehut a mailing address, which could be a PO box, but they will also need a physical address. So you need to have both. If you have a PO box, that's fine, but you need to have an actual physical address. And the question about to make a GovIL account to go to Misrad Klita, we're going to go and get into that in a minute. You do need a GovIL account to get into the Misrad Klita account, which Noah will explain. You don't have to have a Misrad Klita account to receive your benefits. It just makes all of these accounts makes interactions with the government offices simpler, easier. You don't have to go in person, and theoretically, there's a lot of accountability on the government offices side as well. And we have heard from Olim very positive experiences of receiving responses, as well as if you're returning to them, but as well as being able to access all sorts of information that you wouldn't. Somebody called me today and said, I received such and such amount of money in Saklita. I have no idea what it is, how's it divided up. And once opening up a GovIL account and from there moving to the Misrad HaKlita account, for example, which we'll get to, sorry, you can see what the payments are for and all sorts of various things for the GovIL account.
I saw that someone also asked about if you're unsure if you opened a gov.il account. If you're unsure, you can still try and log in and press forget password. And you can put in your Teudat in your email. And if they have you in the system, they'll send you an email to reset your password. And if not, they'll tell you and give you instructions on how to open the account.
Can I ask a question?
We do, you certainly can, but we really do, if it's possible, prefer the questions to be put in the chat, just because we're a very large group, and when the microphones are unmuted, it gets to be a little hard to handle. But since you already opened up, asked if you can ask a question, please, you can ask the question. Okay?
Yes, I left. I'm in New York. I left Israel. My granddaughter had a baby. I came to spend time with her, and now I didn't go. I'm not going back yet till things are quiet in Israel, because my children here don't want me to go back right now. So what happens with my Aliyah? Up to how long?
So, Mrs. Gull, I actually sent you an email about this today, and this is a question that we can deal with on a one-to-one basis. Maybe you want to check your emails, okay? But it's not current to what we're speaking about, so let's hold that to the end. And as it's a very specific question, see if you find my email. Maybe you can look while we're talking, and we can continue the conversation that way through email or afterwards.
I did not.
Okay, so I'm gonna move forward. I'm gonna keep going with the Misrad HaKlita account. The Misrad HaKlita can be accessed. The Misrad HaKlita account can be accessed through your gov.il account. So on the personal information page, as I mentioned, there's a section at the bottom for Misrad HaKlita. It says Aliyah and Klita. In that section will be listed the name of your advisor at Misrad HaKlita, their email and their phone number. And you'll also see the sum of money, the total sum of money that you've received from Misrad HaKlita. Your municipal coordinator, which means a coordinator that works in the Aliyah department in your municipality, their name and their phone number will also be listed there. Circled on this page, you'll see a link that says Lekol HaPratim. That's for all of the information. For the rest of the information in your Misrad HaKlita account, you'll click on this link and it'll take you into your Misrad HaKlita account. This is what you will see when you click on that link. You'll see the main page of the Misrad HaKlita account. This account can be completely in English. They can put it in any language that you want. They have English, Spanish, Russian, Arabic, Hebrew, any language you prefer, whichever is easiest for you. You can switch it and the entire website will go into that language. It's Misrad HaKlita, so they try and make it accessible to everyone. On this main page, you'll see a couple of things. You'll see at the top, you'll see the name of your consultant. So that's the name of your advisor. Every Ole receives an advisor at their local Misrad HaKlita office. You'll see their name. And next to it, you'll see the total payments made to you from Misrad HaKlita. So that could be in Sal Klita, that could be in any other money you'd be receiving from them. Underneath, you'll see something called Inquiry to My Absorption Counselor. Through this account, there can be many, many, many different actions done. If you look on the left side, you'll see all of the different options all the different actions that can be done through this account. You can send in messages to your personal Misrad HaKlita advisor, as I said. You can track payments from your Sal Klita. You can see when they're coming in, when future payments will be coming in. You can apply for Ulpan, you can get reimbursed, or you can apply for your Ulpan voucher. You can update your bank account information and much, much more. We're going to look through all the different kinds of inquiries that Misrad HaKlita has opened. Over the years, they've collected all the different questions that they've received, and they've made inquiries based on the most common questions. So here you'll see there are around 13 different things that you can choose from, 13 different kinds of inquiries. Sorry, not 13, 10 different kinds of inquiries you can choose from. There are so many different kinds of inquiries. I'm going to focus on 3 of the inquiries just from our experience, the main questions that have come in from different olim. First one is Ulpan. You can apply for your Ulpan voucher through the online account. Once you've selected an Ulpan or you've gotten in contact with an Ulpan that you're interested in, you can apply for your Ulpan voucher through here. You can send a message to your Misrad Klita advisor notifying them that you'd like to start this Ulpan so that they can start the process of getting you the voucher to be part of that Ulpan or reimbursing you for the money that you paid. You must get approval from Misrad Klita before you start an Ulpan, and this is the first step in doing that. It makes it much easier to get in touch with your advisor instead of calling or emailing or going into the branch. This is an amazing way to just get in touch with them, and everything will be listed and kept on file in case you want to go back and review it. You didn't understand their answer or they gave you a form to fill out. It'll all be here in your account. The next type of inquiry is to update your bank account information. When you make Aliyah, one of the benefits you receive is called Sal Klita, which is the money that you get for the first 6 months of your Aliyah. You do need to give Misrad Klita your bank account information in order for them to start transferring that money into your account. Instead of going into the branch and waiting in line and booking an appointment, you can just upload your bank account information through the portal. What I mean by bank account information is the branch number, your account number, and you may need to upload something called, it's roughly translated to a confirmation of opening a bank account. When you open a bank account, you'll get a piece of paper with the branch number, your Teudat Zehut number, the stamp from the branch, and all the other information that you needed, and you'll need to upload that so that Misrad Klita has the proper information in order to start transferring the money into your account. The third kind of inquiry is a general inquiry. Sometimes you have a small question here and there that you just want to ask your advisor, and it just doesn't fit into a specific category. If you want to book an appointment or if you have a small question about travel, about your Sal Klita, you can just send it through here and they'll respond to you within 3 to 5 business days. This is what the actual general inquiry will look like. Most inquiries look like this. Some may have more fields to fill out, information about your bank, for example, or about the Ulpan, and a place to also upload documents, to upload information, to upload a form from your Ulpan, to upload a form from your bank. That'll all be here, and there's a section on top for you to write out any of the information that you'd like the advisor to know. Depending on the type of the inquiry, like I said, you might need to upload some supporting documents, but other than that, once you submit it, they should get back to you. What you can also see here is where to send the response. They like to confirm your email and your phone number to make sure that when the response comes in, they can get in touch with you as soon as possible and you can get the response as soon as possible. So if you'd prefer to receive the response in an email, you can check off just the email, or if you're out of the country and you can't receive SMS messages, you can just check off email and the response will come to you that way. Once it's sent, they're usually pretty responsive and you can access all of the responses to your questions within this account. You'll get a little notification on the side of the account where to view the answer, okay? We're gonna pause here before we move on to Bituach Leumi, just to see if anybody has any extra questions, if anything came up in the chat.
Yeah, Noah, there's an interesting question. I'm not sure of the answer. Somebody asked if it's possible to open up the Misrad Klita online account before your first appointment with Misrad Klita, and I'm not sure of the answer. Have you had experience with that?
So I have had experience. If I go back a couple of steps, in order to access the online Misrad Klita account, you need to open a gov.il account. And one of the 2 forms of identification to actually open the account is with a Teudat Ole. So if you've made Aliyah from within Israel, or you already have a Teudat Ole, if you haven't gone for your first appointment to get a Teudat Ole, you can't open the account. If you have the Teudat Ole and you haven't had your first appointment, I have had people who were able to upload their bank account information and then book an appointment afterwards. But you should be able to, as if you made Aliyah from within Israel, you won't. But if you came on a flight, you will be able to.
Okay. There's another, thank you very much. There's another question. Is my visit the same as gov.elf? So let me just try and take a stab at that, okay? There are, just to make things interesting, there's 2 online tools to use to make appointments at government offices. it used to only be one, which is My Visit. Now there's Go Visit and there's My Visit. Go Visit allows you to make appointments, or is the only way you can make an appointment at the for the Misvara Pnim, for the Misvara Rishui, which is the Ministry of Interior, and the Ministry of Transportation. Don't recall if anything else. And My Visit is a way you can make an appointment at the other government offices. Those are two apps just to make appointments, okay? Gov.il is not an app to make an appointment. It's not an app. It's a personal login. You can set up a personal login account where, as we've shown, you can get information in many topics relating to your own personal status. Okay, so it is not the same thing. This is a lot of information, I know, and hopefully you'll be able to go back and look again afterwards at the recording or at our written information to make more sense of that. Another person writes in, and Eliza, if you want to take over, you're welcome to, but our Klita counselor doesn't get back to us when we send a message. What can we do? If that happens, it shouldn't happen, meaning that is not, their policy is, of course, to respond, although I do believe they give themselves 10 working days, I'm not sure. But if that happens, if you're not getting a response, please be in touch with us, answers@mbn.org.il, or call us at star 3680. We'll ask you questions. Which branch are you communicating with? Who is your advisor? We will see if we have anybody else in that branch that we can be in touch with and hopefully pop this up so that that you would get a response. See why maybe why you're not getting a response, et cetera, et cetera. We can't we're what's the word? We're colleagues with them. You know, we're not part of the Misvara Klita, but we do have contacts and we can try and help if in a specific situation you do not receive a response. So please don't stay home, and please don't, say, well, I've written 4 times and nobody's helping me. Let us know. If you let us know, we can try and assist you. Sometimes we'll be able to help, and sometimes, unfortunately, we might not be able to, but without letting us know, we won't be able to even try. So please do try if you're not getting a response. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions, and I think that seems to be it for now. Okay. Do you want to, before we go on to the third part of this, I kind of wanted to show the page, Noah, just where they can see how to get, I'm going to send it, you know what, I'm going to put it in the chat, which I already did, but with the 4 different icons, setting up online government accounts, which takes you to the 4 different guides. That will be in the follow-up email as well. Some of these helpful links will be in the follow-up email. I think you can move on.
Okay, perfect. Next, the final account we're going to be going over, which is one that we get a lot of questions about, is the Bituach Leumi account. Most government offices will have online accounts for you to use the same way Misvara Klita does. Bituach Leumi is one of the larger government offices in Israel, and their account is one that you should have made right when you made Aliyah, or should make right when you make Aliyah. It has a lot of information, and any information that is missed through Bituach Leumi could come back, and they send you any kind of notification through that account, and it's an important account to have. The Bituach Leumi website itself, if you search up online btl.gov.il, the website is all in Hebrew, but they do have an amazing English site. It is an amazing, amazing, amazing resource to have. All of their information, mostly all of their information is in English. I've taken a screenshot here of the English site, the main page. Once you press English, it has tons of information from birth until retirement age. You can get all kinds of information about how Bituach Leumi can help you in your specific situation.
And
if you look
Noah has very helpfully highlighted in yellow the different languages, and you can press on there when you go to the website. As she said, it'll be in Hebrew, but you can press there for English, and then you see it all in English as we're seeing on our screen.
Thank you, Tiffy. If you can see on my screen right now, on the right-hand side, you'll see 3 different buttons you can press: branches, payments, and personal service. We're going to click, for our purposes, on personal service. This is going to take you to the login page for your account. From here on out, just making the account is in Hebrew. This part of the website hasn't been updated to English just yet, but our step-by-step guide does have a translated version and goes through step-by-step in English how to open the account. The page you see here is the login page, the arrow showing you where to click to actually start making the account. I did add in the technical support phone number. Sometimes there are issues with opening the account. Sometimes the information isn't updated the way it should be. So this is a good phone number to have just in case something goes wrong. You can always call Post Aliyah. But if you want to get the situation sorted or to figure out what the issue is, you can call that number and get straight through to the technical support of Bituach Leumi. Once you click on that button over there where the arrow is pointing, you will get to this page. This page is basically just opening the account. It asks for pretty much the same information that it asks for when you open your gov.il account, your Teudat Zehut, your phone number, your date of birth, the date of issue on your Teudat Zehut. Sometimes people struggle with this one, depending on if you have a temporary or a biometric Teudat Zehut. The issue date of the card does change. If you put in the issue date and it's giving you an error saying that it's incorrect, I would say to double check the date, make sure you put it in the right way, day, month, year. If you don't have your biometric Teudat Zehut just yet and it still isn't working, I'd recommend waiting until the biometric Teudat Zehut comes in the mail, just so that you have the correct issue date, because it might be updated with the issue date in the system, but you might not have the card yet. Once all this is filled out, you can press continue. Another thing to point out is, again, if you don't receive SMS messages, please select a phone call for different codes that you'll need to receive. Again, for identification purposes, most government accounts will send you a code when you log in or when you're making the account. They just want to make sure that they can get in touch with you to make sure that you're putting the correct phone number. Once you select that, you'll get an SMS or a phone call, whichever one you choose, just to confirm your phone number. Sometimes, if they want an extra step of identification, they'll ask for bank account or credit card details. They will not charge this card. They just want to make sure that it's really you opening the account, and only you would really have your bank account or your credit card numbers to put in. Make sure that the card is issued under your name. If it's a joint card between both you and your spouse, then you can use that as well. That also works, as long as your card and your name and your Teudat Zehut are on there. From personal experience, I've seen that it usually works better to put in the credit card numbers instead of the bank account details. Couldn't tell you why, but that's just the way Bituach Leumi has it set up in their system. Sometimes it just works better with that. It sometimes does work with a debit card as well. So if you don't have an Israeli debit card and not an Israeli credit card, you can use the debit card as well. Once that has gone through, you will receive an email and an SMS with your username and your temporary password. Bituach Leumi has two different ways that you can log in. The first way to log in is with your Teudat Zehut, your username and your password. And the second way is just with your Teudat Zehut. When you first open the account, you'll need to use that username and the temporary password that they give you. If you have any issues with opening the account, once you get the email with the username and the password, just make sure that you're spelling it correctly. It is case sensitive. So from what I remember, all the username and the password are all capital letters. So just make sure you're putting it in with capital letters. After that, you will log in with the information that they've sent you. And I said temporary password because after the first time you log in, it'll ask you to make your own password. This is just to make it easier for you to remember how to log in. The temporary password can be whatever you'd like. It does need to be between 8 to 10 characters and cannot include any special characters, your name, or your Teudat Zehut. So once you've logged in, you will get to your Bituach Leumi account. This is what you'll see. We've crossed out everything, but on the top, you'll see Shalom and then your name in Hebrew. You'll see your date of birth. You'll see your marital status, your Kupat Cholim, and the address that you have listed in Misrad HaPnim. This is the address that all of your official mail will go to. Any mail from Misrad HaPnim. If you order a passport, that's where it'll go. Any mail from Bituach Leumi, that's where it'll go. So make sure that that address is correct. The second box down is going to include your email and your phone number. If you need to update any of that information, you can update it by clicking this button that is highlighted. It's important that all of the information here is correct. Bituach Leumi will send you mail, they may call you, they may email you. So it's important to stay up to date with the information that's coming in from them and for them to be updated with your information. In the Bituach Leumi account, there are tons and tons of different things that you can access. You can access your insurance details, so information about your Kupat Cholim. You can update your payment details. So if you've set up automatic payments or if you'd like to set up monthly automatic payments, you can update your bank account information with them. You can upload paperwork in different forms. You can upload a paycheck or a doctor's note or a claim that you're sending in. You can submit request forms if you're applying for unemployment or any kind of funds, healthcare funds from them. You can contact them the same way that you can send an inquiry through your Misrad HaKlita account. You can do the same thing through Bituach Leumi. You can access information about your child's savings plan. You can access the information for the child if they're under the age of 18 and they have a savings plan. And you can also get copies of any letters that Bituach Leumi has sent you. The mail in Israel is sometimes a little bit crazy, doesn't get to the house or gets stuck or lost. So it's important to keep up to date with the letters that Bituach Leumi sends you. And easily enough, they upload everything that they send you to their account. So on the top of the account, you'll see this bar where it says all of these different boxes. The two that we're going to focus on are Ishurim and Michtavim. So Ishurim and Michtavim are things that they send you, different permissions or different forms that you can get from them to then give to your employer, to your healthcare provider, to things like that. And Michtavim are letters that they send you. So if they have if they need to update your information, if they need to send you a letter asking about your address change or your bank account details, they'll send you that, and that'll all be listed in the Bituach Leumi account. On the side, you can see there's an option Hatzaga, which is to preview the document, and you can also download it to your computer and save it and have it on hand just in case anything comes up. Another thing that you can do is you can actually check or verify your residency with Bituach Leumi. On the right-hand side, there were a whole bunch of options. One of them is called Netunei Bituach, and we're going to go into the first option, Birur Netunei Bituach. Once you've clicked on that, you would be able to see your residency status at the bottom, highlighted there, Toshavut, which is residency, that you are a resident of Israel. If yours doesn't look like this, you may need to click on that second option on the top, Hashlamat Pratim, and then you'll be able to see all the information about your residency. Something else that I mentioned that you can do through the Bituach Leumi account is to actually set up automatic payments. After your first 6 months of your Aliyah, you will need to start paying into Bituach Leumi in order to be part of the healthcare system in Israel. So they do charge you every month. Sometimes they usually charge per quarter, but they take a certain amount of money depending on your age. If you're working, things like that, they'll take a certain amount of money each month. And you can set up automatic payments so that each month or each quarter, depending on how they charge you, a certain amount of money will be deducted from that credit card. If you would like to set up automatic payments from a bank account instead of it being deducted from a credit card, you can do so, and you can call us. We can send you the form. You'll need to turn directly to the bank in order to do that because they do need to sign it and send it over themselves. But you can definitely call us and we can help you sort through that. And the last and final thing we're going to cover in the Bituach Leumi account is to actually send in an inquiry. During your first year of Aliyah, it's important to keep Bituach Leumi updated on your travels, for example, or on anything like that. So if you'd like to send Bituach Leumi a message, just to let them know what's going on with you, if you've changed any information, you can send in an inquiry through here. You'll choose the kind of inquiry it is. If you need help choosing that, you can give us a call, and because it is all in Hebrew. And then you can write in the bottom section what your inquiry is about. Other than that, that is what we were going to cover in the Bituach Leumi account. If any questions came up.
Noah, I do want to elaborate just a teeny bit on the very last, well, on two things, but on the last thing that you said, because there was questions that were written in prior to this evening and as well as in the chat about notifying Bituach Leumi of changes. So first of all, one question that did come up that the sidebar is all in Hebrew. In fact, this page is all in Hebrew. A really good friend of yours should be Mr. Google Translate. It is an add-in that you can put in your Google Chrome, which is always easiest. And I don't know, and apologize if you already said it, Noah. Any of these government accounts, anything that you're interfacing with government on and online works absolutely best with Google Chrome as your browser, not just because of Google Translate, because it works best with Google Chrome. It also works better for whatever reasons, not on Apple, and it certainly works better not on your phone, but on an actual laptop. So I'm just giving you those couple of tips that if you're going to open up an account or using the account, it's worth it to open up your laptop. Even if you usually use Firefox or whatever it is that you use, I don't know other names, but you should use Google Chrome. It will work much better. And then you can use Google Translate, and Google Translate gets better and better. I mean, if you would ask a few years ago, there was a lot of jokes about Google Translate. Now it works really not bad at all. Okay, so if you're not sure how to do that, have somebody. Well, we should do a tutorial on that, or have somebody teach you because it will help you. I want to answer specifically what Noah touched on, how you can notify Bituach Leumi of all sorts of things, such as changes. So, and I apologize if I'm going to now get into the topic of Bituach Leumi more than the actual account, but it's come up too often not to address this. So first of all, there was very recently, just a few weeks ago, an open forum about Bituach Leumi and all sorts of updates and things with the Healthcare Connection, which I put the link in. We'll send it to you in the follow-up email. That is so. I mean, we can't now repeat a whole 45-minute presentation. That being said, um, two changes, and one is not a real change. One is if, as Olim, you are traveling out of the country for more than 1 month, you should let Bituach Leumi know. Now, you are certainly allowed to travel. There is no reason that you shouldn't travel. You are allowed to leave the country. We have seen, however, a change in Bituach Leumi policy that they are now much more frequently than before, looking at travels of Olim. And if somebody just made Aliyah and leaves the country, we found that they've started to question what we call residency, which is where the center of your life is, which is what if you're a resident, you are eligible for Bituach Leumi, and if you are deemed a non-resident, you are not eligible for Bituach Leumi, which is healthcare, right? So in order to try and preempt any issues with Bituach Leumi, and in conjunction with or as a follow-up to our conversations with our contacts in Bituach Leumi, we were told that it would be a good idea for anyone traveling for a month or more. And again, you don't need to count your days. And I was there for 29 days, not 30. It's not exact science. Okay, it's just not. Bituach Leumi doesn't work that way. If you're traveling for about a month or more, certainly you can let them know. It can be in English. That was a question somebody asked. You can write them in English, not in another language. You can write them in English and let them know, hi, my name is Tzipi Oppenheimer, Zoot number this. You're writing from the account, so they'll know who you are. I plan to leave Israel on such and such a date and hope to return on such and such a date. I'll be traveling to visit family overseas, or I'll be traveling for family simcha. You do not need to make it any longer than that. You should, because they're not going to want to read something much longer. But that's what you should be notifying them. And we have found that sometimes Olim receive a response saying, oh, that's nice, have a nice trip. And you don't need to notify us. Sometimes Olim aren't getting a response. We were told that you should notify them. It's preempting so that there won't, so hopefully they won't then decide when you're away for that month and a half, 2 months. Now, when you come back, you need to prove to us again that you're residents. Again, nobody's saying you can't travel. We're saying you should let them know in order to hopefully prevent any need to then explain to them I came back and so on. If you do let them know and they still anyway tell you, sorry, we put your residency on hold, contact us. We'll help you with that, okay? That's number one, and that's what Noah showed you how you can do it through the site. Another question that's less relevant, but I still do want to, if I can, if you don't mind, everybody, I want to touch on it, is what is residency, okay? So Bituach Leumi, which is the government body that does all sorts of things. They regulate all sorts of stipends, life cycle stipends, childbirth grant, maternity leave, disability, God forbid, pay for the funeral, the burial at the end of life, Ad Me'av Esrim, okay? They also are the ones who facilitate the healthcare tax. Okay, so if you and Bituach Leumi is based on residency, not on citizenship. We have many Israeli citizens living overseas in LA or in Chicago or wherever who are still Israeli citizens, but they're not residents and they're not eligible for healthcare or for any of those other stipends. And vice versa, by the way. But for our purposes, we want you all, if you're planning, if the center of your life is in Israel, we want to be sure that your residency stays valid for Bituach Leumi. My apologies. And residency has always been defined by Bituach Leumi as where the center of your life is. Now, sometimes people have translated it as being here for half a year plus 1 day. That is not written anywhere in the Bituach Leumi information. That is a good tool for sure. Okay, if you're here only for 3 months, you'll have a very hard time. You won't be able to state your case that the center of your life is in Israel. Okay, if you're here for 10 months, it'll be very easy to state your case. But there are other things that Bituach Leumi is looking at. Where do you have a long-term rental contract, or where do you own a home? Did you sell a home in the US? Did you buy a car here? Did you sell your car there? Did you send a shipment of all your things to Israel? Are your children in school in Israel? Do you have a full-time, or do you have a job in Israel? Those are all things that help to prove that the center of your life is in Israel. So the idea that it's not just the 163 days a year is not a new idea. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, that is sometimes thrown about as the be-all and end-all of how to define residency. That is not true. If you are going to be here for 9 months out of a year, you really don't have much to worry about. If for some reason Bituach Leumi sends you information that you're not, your residency is on hold, or you're now defined as a non-resident, which you can see in your account as Noah showed you, then be in touch with us and we'll help you. If you indeed do not live here 6 months out of the year, or live here 6 months in 2 weeks, but still can't prove it's the center of your life, that is the legal definition. We will always try to help you, but you need to be aware what the legal definition is. So I hope, again, I don't want to go into that much more because this is not a session on Bituach Leumi, but it is important background to know as far as how to use the Bituach Leumi website also. I'm done with that. Okay. Elisa, did you look through the questions, or Noah, if there's other things? Yes, you should inform them. I'm looking at a question. In their second year of Aliyah, do we need to inform them of our travel? Yes, you should. If you right now, again, one of the things about living in Israel is knowing how things are so much in flux, change, are flexible. The rules for certain things, including for Olim, change so often that sometimes our heads spin. We might be giving out different instructions in another month or another 2 months. Currently, those are the instructions as we have received them from Bituach Leumi. So yes, you should let them know in your second year as well. I would also emphasize the importance of having set up direct debit for Bituach Leumi payments, either from your bank account or your credit card, but that is not a guarantee that they won't decide you're no longer resident if you are away for a long time.
Thank you, Tzipi. First of all, I want to thank Noah for preparing the presentation, the screenshots, and for really going over these step-by-step of these 3 different online accounts. What we went over is how to open and how to use a gov.il account, how to access your Misrad HaKlita portal, personal portal, and the Bituach Leumi. Like we said also in the beginning, these were general screenshots. Some of you might have really personal individual questions or might want assistance, whether opening the account or kind of navigating it. So please feel free to just put in the chat again our email and our phone numbers. So please feel free to reach out if you'd like to set up a time to go over that, or to sign up for one of our Translation Tuesdays. We're happy to do this with anyone, either us, the Post Aliyah team, or one of our many volunteers we're happy to do those with you. So feel free to reach out. I'm going to ask Noah to unshare the screen just so we can see everybody who's here. And again, thank you for joining. This was the topic that we spotlighted today. Oh, but I see a question about payments for Kupat Cholim, if that I'll see where I'm paying. So just to clarify, every Israeli has to be under Bituach Leumi, the National Insurance Institute, in order to be on the healthcare system. As you know, there are 4 healthcare providers here, Meuchedet, Maccabi, Leumit, or Clalit. So in the beginning, Olim don't pay into the system to be on the Kupat Cholim, but after 6 months, or you start paying in to Bituach Leumi, that allows you to be on the base to get the basic healthcare that you get from your Kupat. Any people here who are on additional tiers of their supplemental healthcare, Maccabi Sheli, Maccabi Zahav, Meuchedet Si, Meuchedet Adif, those types of payments you're paying directly to your Kupat Cholim, not Bituach Leumi, to supplement and expand that. So you might have 2 payments. The basic goes into Bituach Leumi, the basic coverage, just like any Israeli. Any supplemental health care that you're adding to yourself, you're doing that directly through your Kupat Cholim and paying them whatever supplemental, and that you're setting up through your bank account separately, not through this Bituach Leumi account. I'm gonna, since this is an open forum and we try to do these pretty frequently, we are, first of all, I'd like to say that anyone who, received the information and, wants to log off, we covered the spotlight topic. You can feel free to log off and continue with your evening if you want. We are opening this up now for general questions because we have over 65 people on this webinar. Please put your questions in the chat and we'll be happy to answer them. Okay, and then we'll just stay on for a bit to continue answering the different questions you have. We're happy to expand to other topics. And also, like Tzipi already put earlier, we have specific webinars on many of these topics. I know a lot of things came up about Bituach Leumi. We're not going to cover everything about Bituach Leumi, but we recently had a webinar about Bituach Leumi. The link is in the chat right now. I recommend you watch it because that was spotlighted really recently just about Bituach Leumi. So I really recommend watching that. Let's take some of the questions.
I would like to just to clarify something. So there was a question, I answered it, but I'll answer it in writing, but let me answer it here. Bituach Leumi, the payment you make is for the basic healthcare, what they call the basic basket of services. And if you're paying directly to Maccabi or Clalit or whatever, that would be for supplemental health insurance. That's in addition, not in place of. Okay, so we do recommend taking supplemental. It's a good product to take. That's up, but not everybody. Well, it's a good product to take, and the cost is well worth it. That is in addition to the supplemental. Okay, it's to the basic healthcare. Elisa, why don't I just touch a minute on getting the voucher for private Ulpan because that came up. So for a couple of years now, Olim there's been a special protocol in place or a directive in place allowing Olim to take advantage of what was known as a private Ulpan. That was when you would apply at certain approved Ulpan companies and pay in advance, and then get the money back at 2 different or 3 different intervals, depending when. Okay. So 2 really important notices right now, or a few. Misara Klita is working very hard on an overhaul of the Ulpan Hebrew acquisition for Olim, and is coming up with a number of different new, improved, whatever, projects and ways for Olim to learn Hebrew. That's not yet published, nor is it finalized. I'm just letting you know that that's in the makings. The private Ulpan vouchers are currently on hold. You cannot apply for a new one. they're not giving them out. The reason is the budget was for 5,000, I believe, for this year, and they're already past 15,000. That being said, and there's no way now to apply for a private Ulpan voucher on the online Misrata Klita site. You can apply for a public Ulpan voucher, but not the private one. I do suggest, or we do suggest, even though we know that there's a hold on it right now, if you do want a private Ulpan, you should let your Misrata Klita advisor know through chatting. There's no separate way to request that, but you can always write a personal inquiry or go to the Misrata Klita, because it's important for them to know that Olim are still interested in that, but it's not happening right now. If somebody already paid for the private Ulpan and finished it, or is in the middle of it and was given the voucher, but there is unfortunately, what we were told is there's a backlog in payment. The Misrata Klita has promised that anybody who received approval of a voucher for private Ulpan will receive the money back, and they acknowledge that there is a delay in that. We don't know their timeline, but that's what we were told. So all of those questions were asked. I think if somebody's finished Ulpan and is just, in quotes, waiting for payment, let's give them after Pesach and be in touch with us again. Maybe then we'll have more information. And if somebody's trying to apply for private Ulpan but is not able to, also, we will certainly update you as soon as there is something updated, but we do not have any official information. I will add that sometimes various Olim forums can be very helpful in many ways, but sometimes there's information that is not final. We only, Nefesh B'Nefesh, will share information that is only passed by the government, publicized by the government office. We don't want to share information that is not 100% final. So we don't know when that's going to be either. There is such thing as public Ulpan. Those classes are opening. Those are an excellent way to learn Hebrew, sometimes in some ways really, really better than the private ones, just because they're much more intense, but not everybody can do that. If you want more information about Ulpan, give us a call. I put it again in the chat, star 3680, Sunday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., or send us an email, and we'll be happy to walk you through it some more. Somebody is asking, I believe this means for residency, counting days, is it Aliyah date or calendar date? Again, residency for Bituach Leumi is not just about counting days, it's where the center of your life is, which can include other things as well. When you are counting days, the Bituach Leumi, since they do not have anything about that on their website on purpose, because not on purpose, but that's not their metric, there is no hard and fast answer to that. Okay. It is half a year within a year. Is that your Aliyah year? Is that a calendar year? Each Bituach Leumi, surprisingly or not surprisingly, deals with each person and each situation on a personal basis, and you cannot make an across the board. I cannot make an across the board response to that question because there is no across the board response.
For those, we just got to our 1 hour mark. It's already 8:05. So I'm just going to say, first of all, thank you for joining. Those who have to log off and want to log off, thank you for joining. We want to wish everybody a Chag Sameach. Enjoy your Passover. We are here for you. Email, reach out, walk-ins, call, email, whatever you need. Please be in touch with us. Those who want to stay, Tzipi, Noah, and I will stay on for the next 10 minutes or so. So please feel free to put in any other questions. By the way, before you log off, just, for us, since we're trying to do these open forums every month or two, if you want to just drop in the chat a topic you'd like for one of the future ones, feel free. Right before you sign out, just write, what topics you'd like next, what are things that are on your mind that we could help you with, and we'll try to really schedule those for the future webinars. Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Tzipi. Hope everybody has a good rest of the week.
I'm going to
answer. If you still have any other questions, just put them in the chat while we stay on.
I'm going to answer Jeff Kossa. I don't know if you're still here. About payment. Oh, you answered that already, Elisa. Okay. Bituach Leumi, just in general, Bituach Leumi actually takes payments after the fact, not before. You don't pay in January for January, February, March. You pay the middle of April for January, February, March. They take it backtrack, not forward. Are there other questions that we wanted to cover? If you have not yet registered for health insurance, you should call us. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Normally, Olim who come on a flight are registered for health insurance at the airport, and Olim who made Aliyah from within Israel. It was you could have written an email. It's past that time now. You would need to be in touch with Bituach Leumi, but I'm not sure that the question you're asking is exactly what I'm answering. So you should be in touch with us directly. I would also suggest walking into our office. It's probably smarter to make an appointment, Lisa, ahead of time, so that we'll be sure to have somebody available. You know, we do sometimes have in-service training meetings, or sometimes the staff is out on various at guided Aliyah appointments in various cities. So it's probably smarter to write us and set up an appointment, or we can try and help you in other way. Translation Tuesdays, that link was sent, and that can be used not just for translating a letter, it can be used to help opening up accounts and so on. So Bernie Zweig, hi, I hear your question. You haven't been able to sign up to pay. Don't panic. Let us help you with that. Your health insurance will not be taken from you, but it is a smart idea to pay. You don't want to have back fees, okay? So if you're having a hard time, if any of you on the screen need to be paying Bitul Klumi and haven't been successful in setting up payment plan, please be in touch with us and we'll help you, okay? I hope that answers you, Bernie.
Thank you.
Sure. The recording of this will be sent out in an email within 2 to 3 working days, along with a number of these links that were put in the chat here, okay? That was also a question, and we'll repeat that as well.
Where is your office located?
We are located in Jerusalem. Our address is Derot Yitzchak Rabin 10, but basically if you're in Jerusalem and you know or look up where this Cinema City building is, we are right next door or kind of like within that complex.
We get to go see movies when we finish work.
We can't hear her.
Are you considered Nefesh B'Nefesh?
Yes, we are all Nefesh B'Nefesh. We all work at Nefesh B'Nefesh. Me, Noah, Tzipi are part of the post-Aliyah and government advocacy team. And there are about 8, 9 other post-Aliyah advisors. We're the ones behind the answers email, the star 368 phone number, the weekly Zooms, and hopefully many more programming and things. So yes, we're all Nefesh B'Nefesh.
I just want to comment to the previous question. I live in Tel Aviv and I go to the Tel Aviv office as well on Rothschild. So that's worth mentioning.
So the reason we didn't mention it, but thank you, is because we actually closed the Rothschild branch for temporarily because we are looking at a different location in Tel Aviv. We are not neglecting our many Tel Aviv Olim. We're actually looking at something new that will hopefully be able to cater to more Olim and more events. So please stay tuned for hopefully more news on the Tel Aviv new office closer to the summer. But it's great that you visited the one on Rothschild.
I think, Eliza, we've covered all of the questions that have been written in. Yeah. And again, reminding everybody, contact us, star 3680. We do have the option to leave a voice message, and we do get back to the voice messages. Sometimes all lines truly are busy. And I'll send us an email. Somebody there was in the chat a long while back saying they sent an email and didn't get a response. We truly hope that doesn't happen, but if it does, send it once more or send it personally to one of us and we'll see what happened. And of course, we will respond. I would add just one more tip. Put into your email address book, answers@nbn.org.il, because often our responses come from there and sometimes it goes to spam. Sometimes our emails come from there, and sometimes if it's not in your address book, then the emails will go to spam. So if you did write us and didn't get a response, check your spam box. Maybe it's there. Anyway, I want to thank you, Noah, and thank you, Aliza, and thank you, you guys, and everybody here this evening have been really wonderful. And a Mazal Tov. Everybody on the screen is an Ole Chadash, either from a month, a week, a year, or even 2 years. But we really, again, wishing you all a Chag Kasher v'Sameach. Have a wonderful Pesach.
And we hope you have a continued smooth Aliyah. Behatzlacha. Have a good night. And thanks for joining.
Lisa Yablon, if you're still on, that's an important question. Send it to us as an email, or send it to me as an email, send it to us as an email, and we can send you information about how to know which of your, about choosing for your child's health, child's savings plan. It's not for now. Laila Tov.
Thank you, guys.